1948. Dewey did not beat Truman. The Marshall Plan was launched to rebuild the world. 35,000 TV sets had appeared in U.S. homes, and the first community antennas, which would lead to the modern cable television business, were installed in Arkansas, Oregon, and Pennsylvania. Today, 65 million households subscribe to cable TV, creating a $100 billion a year business in basic, premium, and advertising revenues. That doesn't even count the revenues piling in from broadband internet and telephony. And to think, it all started as a way to connect people and their brand new, shiny black and white TVs to faraway broadcast towers. I'm Leslie Ellis with Multichannel News. With the aid of the rich archives and knowledgeable people here at the Cable Center in Denver, we've put together a decade-by-decade video chronicle of cable television from 1948 to 2008. So sit back, get comfortable, and let us tell you the story. Of the 1950s, in prosperous post-war America, new electronic gadgets, machines, and devices were proliferating. But with apologies to the top-loading washing machine and the upright vacuum cleaner, none of them would have the impact of a relative newcomer to America's living rooms, the television set. By the fall of 1950, TV had taken America by storm. Milton Berle was a new cultural icon. So gripping was the medium's hold on American families that an entire meal category, the TV dinner, had been invented. That way, viewers wouldn't have to miss a favorite show while they chewed through their Salisbury steak. Yet television in the 1950s was mostly a product for people in cities and suburbs where over-the-air reception was possible. In small farm communities and rural towns, TV was something invented for aliens, city folk. That helps to explain why a 32-year-old insurance salesman, former Golden Glove boxer, and ex-Navy fighter pilot from Hobbs, New Mexico, became transfixed after seeing television for the first time. When Bill Daniels stopped in a downtown Denver bar in November of 1952 and saw a boxing match on a corner TV set, it changed the course of his life and the television industry itself.
And the reason I'd never seen television is during the Korean War they had a freeze on all TV stations. Mm-hmm. And my first glimpse was in a bar in Denver where I stopped on the way to Casper. I didn't even see television until I was 32, and I thought, my God, what an invention this is. When I moved to Casper, I had to go to work in my oil insurance business to make a living and to feed myself. But I couldn't get out of my mind how could you get that great invention to a small town where they had no TV stations.
The man who would come to be known as the father of cable television would lead to greatness. But in the early 1950s, working with a Pennsylvania equipment company called Gerald Electronics, Daniels and others were just beginning to learn about the origins of the business. In small towns in Pennsylvania and Arkansas and Oregon, inventive entrepreneurs had cobbled together wires, cables, and electronics equipment that could gather a television signal from a distant receiving tower and distribute it to a TV set. Sometime around 1948 or 1949, working on a hunch and a whim, these electronics hobbyists had begun to establish the foundation for a new industry. They called it Community Antenna Television, or CATV for short. Originally, innovators like Jimmy Davidson, the son of a Little Rock optometrist, weren't exactly trying to establish a powerful new media category. They were simply trying to get people interested in buying those newfangled devices called TV sets from their local radio and electronics stores. But as word began to spread, the medium's inventors realized they could pay back some of their investment by collecting fees to connect TV sets to their simple TV cable systems. In fact, the origins of today's modern triple play bundles trace back to some of the earliest schemes for collecting fees from CATV subscribers. It wasn't a sophisticated business. Billing systems typically consisted of collecting cash payments from customers who stopped by the electronics store. But as popularity grew, the owners who had rigged up these community antenna systems realized they were onto something. Some of them took to marketing CATV service in a grand tradition of American salesmanship.
The biggest day on cable assignments for about 10 years was Washington's birthday. We used to buy thousands of cherry pies, and we'd give you a cherry pie and a premium and a free installation if you signed up. We signed up, we were close to 1 million customers when I got out of there, but I would tell you 10-15% over a period of years were cherry pie sign-ups.
Irving Kahn represented a new breed of electronics and technology entrepreneurs. Somewhere in the brewing convergence of antenna towers and wires and TV sets infiltrating rural America, the seeds of a new business were sprouting. So were some of the key technologies that would allow it to flourish. Gerald Electronics, the company started in 1948 by an electronics salesman named Milton Schaap, invented a new type of signal amplifier that propelled TV signals deeper into communities, allowing more people to sign up for service. Closer to home, Schaap's group devised twist-on fittings to connect coaxial cable to antennas and TV sets. At the time, it was big.
This was now in the post-World War II days. There had been a lot of coaxial cable manufactured towards the end of the war. Most of the cable in that time were odd sizes, and there were no fittings, and several manufacturers tried to make fittings to go with these various military equipment deals and so on. That period was one of entrepreneurship, trying to match the cables. You had the ban on a lot of equipment because of the war, and it was a crazy period, and to a certain extent I can just say we lucked out.
Enabled by new technologies and encouraged by true believers like Bill Daniels, who would quickly become one of the industry's leading evangelists and dealmakers, the early CATV pioneers were about to embark on an extraordinary wave of growth. Little did they know at the time how much perseverance and faith they'd need.